From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
Kent's Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Happy Tuesday evening to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. You know, with the mountain thunderstorms, that'll become a thing of the past here for tomorrow. Now, there may be a little bit of activity here for tomorrow, which we'll get into that here in your deeper dive forecast, but we do have a cooling trend that's going to be going into the weekend that will probably peak sometime around Friday, Saturday, but after that it warms back up in early next week. But that being said, I am not seeing any major heat waves heading our way. Yes, it'll be hot, upper 90s, lower 100s, but I'm not expecting 105 to 110, right? So that's still going to hold off a bit here. All right, so let's take a look at your Krueger's Quickcast here for your Tuesday, June 10th. And tonight, we do expect temperatures to be a little bit cooler. Again, we're starting to see some cooler air begin to move in. That should allow low to mid 60s here for the valley, mainly in the 50s for the higher elevations, and looks like upper 40s to around 50 overnight tonight for the coast. So out the door tomorrow morning, you're going to be looking at the mainly clear skies here for the valley and really the mountains, but still some fog for the coast with temperatures around 50 there, mainly in the low to mid 60s for the mountains. And as we get into 8 o'clock morning hour, for the valley, I mean, we're going to be approaching that 70-degree mark. So again, not quite as warm as it has been the last few days. Now, the ridge of high pressure is beginning to break down, and we have a series of storms over the Gulf of Alaska that are moving up and riding over the ridge of high pressure, and this is what's going to allow our temperatures to drop slightly as that warmer air begins, or that heat really begins to move on out. So maybe a few stray showers here, and maybe even a thunderstorm here this evening as we head into Siskiyou County, even in parts of Modoc County. But otherwise, we're starting off dry for your Wednesday. Could see some fog here still along the coast here for tomorrow morning. Now, by the afternoon, there was initially a thought that maybe there might be some afternoon showers or thunderstorms here for Wednesday afternoon for Siskiyou County. Now it looks like the models are backing off on that, so we'll keep it mainly dry with partly cloudy skies and still some fog along the coast through the day tomorrow. And then by tomorrow night, we're going to be clearing things out again here for the mountains right in the valley, but still that fog along the coast. So for your Wednesday, you see how temperatures are starting to slowly drop. We're talking low to mid 90s for the valley here. Temperatures in the 70s, even some 80s for the higher elevations, but still around 91 degrees for Weaverville, Hayfork, mid to upper 80s inland, and looks like in the upper 50s to around 60 for that daytime high for the coast. So let's take a look at your 7-day forecast for the valley. We'll continue to see those temperatures drop. Generally around 90, give or take, for Friday, Saturday for all of us in the valley here. Then temperatures continue to climb. We're back up to about upper 90s, to about 100 degrees here by Tuesday of next week. But it probably won't get much warmer than that as we go into Wednesday, Thursday of next week. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast for the coast, averaging out around 60, give or take, here for the next 7 days. Inland, temperatures dropping, as well as the Trinity County area as well, but we're not going to be looking at any more rain, any more thunderstorms in the forecast. Now, I still have a slight chance for a stray sprinkle, maybe a light shower for parts of Siskiyou County, even Modoc County, but otherwise it's drying out and it's cooling off as we approach the weekend with a slight warm-up for early next week. Now, as we go into fire season, I do want to remind you that weathernorcal.com has a great one-stop shop for the latest on the fires. Whether you want to know what the latest is on any fire in your area, or you want to know what the fire weather conditions are like, all you have to do is go to weathernorcal.com, scroll down a little bit here and click right there, and that'll give you all the information you need right there on the website. Here's a look at your fire weather forecast here, and we typically start off with those winds, and those winds should start to die down as we typically see in the morning. They're dying down, but then picking back up again tomorrow afternoon. But no major wind events here. Still a little gusty along the eastern mountains here, and then as we go into Thursday morning, winds calm down, but I do expect a little bit of a more stronger wind coming in for your Thursday. So we're going to really start to see that fire weather risk kind of go up and down a little bit here. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So let's take you into tomorrow, and you can see in the morning we see some good recovery, 30-40% relative humidity, down to the lower teens here as we go into Wednesday afternoon, mainly in the moderate fire weather risk. That's essentially where we want to be. Really where we want to be is low, but especially if we can get down to low to moderate, we're doing pretty well. But as we go into your Thursday, you saw as we go into Thursday afternoon that those winds are picking back up, especially for the north and west side of the valley. That's where we still have that high fire danger, not as high to the south because the winds there are not expected to be quite as strong, and temperatures are starting to drop too. That should help too. All right, so again, we look at the satellite image. We got a couple of storm systems that are going to be riding up and over that ridge of high pressure, pushing the heat that's over us now down to the south and east, and we will start to see those temperatures begin to drop. So let's take a look at the next couple of days with Futurecast. And of course, as we were talking about, that we don't expect any more thunderstorms here for tomorrow. Still that fog here really through a good portion of the day on Wednesday. We may see a pop-up sprinkle or light shower for eastern Siskiyou and maybe even western Modoc County. But as you can see, it's pretty much looking at dry conditions and partly cloudy skies for the mountains, and then dry and sunny for the valley. As we go into Thursday morning, we still have that fog along the coast. And that fog tries to burn off a little bit here, but really sticking around here even for Thursday afternoon. Partly cloudy skies, but once again, still dry in the mountains here for your Thursday. Sunny skies and slightly cooler for your Thursday for the valley. So that heat, you see how it's being pushed down to the south and east because this is moving on in. Now, the core of that colder air is still well up to our north, but what this is doing is helping to push that heat down to our south and east. Now that will retreat, move back up to the north, and I've got my eyes on this heat right here for next week. That is going to try to build in, but rather than becoming a big, strong, prominent ridge of high pressure like this, it's fairly flattened out because we've got this storm system right here riding to our north, once again keeping those temperatures at bay. Now, as I mentioned, don't let that fool you. It's still going to be hot. We're talking upper 90s to about 100 degrees in the valley, but at least we're not talking 105 to 110 degrees as it could be if we didn't have that colder air riding to the north. So here's your 10-day trend. Here's the drop in temperatures I was talking about, upper 80s, low 90s for Friday, Saturday, but then it's starting to tick back up. But you see how they go up and then maybe start to go back down again toward the end of next week. But again, we're still talking 100 degrees, right? So let's take a look at our wave heights, and you can see they're not going to be changing much over the next couple of days. And you can see as we go into Wednesday afternoon, looks pretty good. They may kind of go in and a little bit and out a little bit here, but overall, that's not going to really produce any problems here if you need to be on a small boat. Just maybe some patchy fog out there. So for your Trinity County neighborhood forecast, we're talking 80s, even some 90s. Down to the south of Highway 299, a bit cooler out in Mad River at 78 and 84 degrees in Ruth. No showers, no thunderstorms tomorrow in Trinity County. For the north coast, out into central and southern Humboldt County, temperatures mid-80s for Garberville and Alder Point. Rio Dell about 61 and Blue Lake topping out at about 65. Up north, about 68 degrees for Smith River, 64 in Trinidad, and it's cooling off for the inland areas, even dropping below 90 degrees, and we'll be in the 80s. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, temperatures in the low to mid 80s there. There you can see temperatures are going to be dropping down to the upper 70s for Friday through at least Saturday, and then warming back up slightly by the end of the weekend. 84 degrees for Canby and California Pines, 87 in Alturas tomorrow, and 8 in a high of about 81 degrees. Slight chance for a passing sprinkle, but otherwise you're dry tomorrow. In the eastern mountains will be dry as well, including Susanville, with temperatures dropping down to the low 80s, and then temperatures ticking back up for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. There's your valley neighborhood forecast to the south. Yeah, we're talking low 90s here for Los Molinos southward, 91 for Pasquinta, as well as Chico, 90 degrees for Gridley. Looking at your 7-day forecast for Chico, down to the upper 80s for Friday, Saturday, and your Father's Day back up to about 92, mid to upper 90s by next Monday and Tuesday. Look for a high of 93 for the city of Shasta Lake. Look at that, upper 80s here for places like Lakehead and Whiskeytown. 94 in Bella Vista at 92 degrees, that is, for Red Bluff. Let's take a look at your 7-day forecast for Redding. And again, those temperatures are dropping around 90, give or take, for Friday and Saturday. Father's Day up to 94, 95 Monday, and yes, some triple digits returning, but barely, as we go into Tuesday of next week. That's your evening update. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock and live on Coffee with Krueger at 6:30. Have yourselves a great night.
At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too. Because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.